WBA junior middleweight champion Israil the Dream Madrimov against Terence Bud Crawford, two-time undisputed three-weight champion. Let's talk about this. This is a big fight. It's fight week. I have been waiting for this fight for a hot minute. Chilling, waiting, relaxing, waiting, and it's here. Now, I don't know what you lot know about Madrimov, but Israil the Dream Madrimov is no slouch out here. This guy has been to numerous amateur contests. He turned pro late. He's 29 years old right now. He's 7 years younger than Crawford, who's 36. This is serious business. He's younger than Crawford by 7 years. He's bigger than Crawford in terms of size, weight, where he's campaigned in the pro ranks. But he has only been a pro for a short space of time. He has had 11 pro fights, but let's get it right. He hasn't come into this game fighting the usual 10 fights. His first fight against Vladimir Hernandez, he was 10 wins, 2 losses. So Madrimov was making his pro debut and he's already fighting a guy with a winning record and 12 fights with only 2 losses. Then he fought a guy that had 26 fights with only 2 losses, and so on and so forth. In his 10 fights, he's only fought 3 guys that have less than 20 pro wins. He's fighting guys at the top of their game and clearing them out. When he won this WBA junior middleweight title, it was a vacant title because Jermell Charlo had he had to vacate after he lost to Canelo Alvarez. He tried to go up 2 weight classes and fight Canelo Alvarez. He got schooled. Canelo took him out of there. And then subsequently, because he didn't return in a space of time because he was recovering from his injuries, he had to vacate all of his titles. And a guy called Magomed Kurbanov and this Israil Madrimov were 1 and 2 in the division. So they fought for the vacant title. Madrimov TKO'd Kurbanov in the 5th round. That fight was on the undercard of AJ versus Ngannou. So you might have seen it. He won the title and his first defense is against Terence Bud Crawford. And Terence now, this is his first fight at junior middleweight. Usually, when a man comes up to a new division, he has a few fights with title contenders to then fight the champion. But because Bud is a super champion, because he's undisputed at 2 weight classes, he was undisputed at 140, junior welterweight, then he became undisputed at welterweight, plus he was Ring Magazine at both weight classes. Because of this, he's a super champion. And in the same instance, like when Usyk went up to heavyweight, he could have fought a champion straight away. He had acclimatizing fights, and let's not worry about that. In this case, Bud gets to be super champion, and as he done when he went up to welterweight, he fights a champion in his first fight. This is not an easy task. He didn't even say, let me fight Kurbanov, who he just beat, or let me fight another contender to warm in. He said, nope, I'm going straight for this guy. And I believe that he's doing this because not only does he feel like he's coming to the end of his career in boxing, but there's also on the horizon that talk of a Canelo Alvarez fight as well. So for me, I believe that he's saying to himself, if I'm going to fight Canelo, who is at super middleweight, I need to beat this junior middleweight champion quite convincingly, because that will be, if I'm going to fight Canelo Alvarez, if that is actually a possibility for me to go and fight Canelo, I'm definitely not going to be like Jermell Charlo and just show up and just try to survive. I want to beat Canelo. And if I'm going to beat Canelo, then I have to be able to beat this guy, Israil Madrimov, champion or not. And at the end of the day, I only fight in championship bouts. The last 19 of Crawford's 40 fights that he's had have all been championship fights. All been for one belt or another. And we're not talking about any interim title. We're talking about world titles. He's only had world title type fights in his last 9. Well, this will be his 19th title fight. That's almost double Madrimov's pro career, because he's only had 11 pro fights. At the same time, Madrimov has done the Lomachenko, Usyk type approach to the pro game, where I'm good enough to fight champions right now, or at least top contenders right now, which he has done. He's proven himself right by getting this title. His style, Madrimov's style, is very awkward. It's very herky-jerky. It's very amateur mixed with the pros. He has learnt how to generate a lot of power, even though he is constantly moving in and out. He can also generate power. Usually when you're dancing around the ring, you can't really set your feet to send them power shots. And because of his training, he does all these different type of footwork training and core training, and he does a lot of wrestling. Being from Uzbekistan, that is a very popular combat sport over there. He does a lot of wrestling, and he has established himself to be a very strong individual. So this will definitely, in my opinion, be the strongest guy that Crawford has ever fought. At the same time, Crawford is the most experienced guy in the program that this man has ever fought. Israil Madrimov has never fought a guy that's had 40 pro wins. So this is a bit of a leveler. But then again, when you look at their overall bouts, what you got to look about, you see on BoxRec, when they show the amateur career of the boxer, they don't show all their amateur fights. They only show the ones that are in more of a international stage. The area level amateur fights they don't record. Okay? And with this being said, in total, Israil Madrimov has 108 total fights, 1 draw, 18 losses, 89 wins. When you think about Crawford now and his total fights, because he lost the Olympic qualifier fight, he didn't get to go to the Olympics. He's only had 76 total fights. And the thing is, I know that he's had 70 wins as an amateur and 12 losses as an amateur. But on BoxRec, because they only show a certain level of amateur fights, it says that he has 25 wins and 11 losses. So a few of those wins and losses, well, one of the losses and a few of those wins are not on BoxRec because it's area level situations. So we understand that this makes everything quite level in terms of pro and amateur combined. These guys have the same level, slightly, of experience. Obviously, Terence Crawford has got so much more experience as a professional fighter. But as fighters, these guys, or as boxers, these guys have a similar, slightly similar level of experience. And with this being said, I personally believe Terence Crawford is winning this fight. I wouldn't say no doubt. I believe Terence Crawford is winning this fight. Will he stop Israil Madrimov is the question I ask. I'm not sure. Terence Crawford starts slow. Israil Madrimov starts pacey. Terence Crawford seems to be downloading data, working out what his opponent is offering as an attack and understanding where he can benefit in between. Where Madrimov starts off very pacey, punches in bunches, angles. He moves very sharp around the ring. Imagine Vasyl Lomachenko. He has that type of movement. It's not exactly the same. It's just the types are the same, where they switch angles. All of a sudden, he's on your left, and then all of a sudden, he's on your right. It's very footwork based. They have these footwork drills that they go through that allow them to have this type of movement. And I expect him to maybe win a few of them early rounds. Terence Crawford generally usually starts putting in the work, as in the output type work, from the 3rd, 4th round onwards. Madrimov, all of his knockouts in the pro ranks have been before the 6th round. This is the thing. And Terence likes to knock man out late recently. Terence has knocked out all of his welterweight opponents. all of his welterweight championship fights, he's knocked out everyone. Okay? And he's knocking man out late. But he does seem to have a tendency to not like it to the body. No one likes it to the body, but no one can really, usually, generally get to Terence's body. But as you saw with Mean Machine, he done a bit of a job when he dropped him. And he caught him with some shots he didn't like in places he didn't want to get caught, which is the body area. Same time, Madrimov throws a lot of shots to the body. So this could be a place where he capitalizes. At the same time, if he doesn't capitalize early enough, he could then find himself in no man's land because he seems to slow down and gas out after 6, 7, and 8. When he goes the distance, he seems to be very much slowing down. And he gets a bit out of breath, worn out. These times, Bud seems to get more energy as the rounds go on. And at the end of the day, Bud is used to the 12 rounds. He's used to going into championship rounds. He knocks out man in the 10th round, 11th round, all of these type of rounds. You saw it with the Sean Porter fight. When he fought Sean Porter and knocked him out in the 10th round, he came out in that 10th round like he was as fresh as a daisy. Remember what happened? They said, you're losing the fight. He said, how? They said, you're down on the card. He said, oh, okay. And he came out and actually it looked like round 1. And he came out fresh as a daisy and put together a barrage of shots in between the punches. He weren't. And this is another thing. People try to say, Sean Porter was having all this success against Bud and stuff. What people don't seem to realize is that Bud was in there with someone he didn't really want to fight him. He wanted to fight Errol at that point. He didn't really want to fight Sean Porter. He actually never ever wanted to fight Sean Porter because he respects Sean Porter and he has a type of friendship with Sean Porter. He didn't want to fight Sean Porter because he sees him more as a brother. Yeah, if you notice, Bud don't check for nobody when it comes to who I'm going to fight. If I'm going to fight you, you're up, you're the enemy, I don't like you, I'm going to smash your jaw in, innit? That's how his energy is when he's about to fight somebody. Even at the time when they announced the fight, from then onwards, he's just on beast mode with his opponent. But with Sean Porter, he was never on beast mode. Until they said, you're losing this fight in that 9th, 10th round interval. And he got up out of his chair and just walked over to him and said, I'm going to have to knock you out now. Boop, 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 over. I believe he can stop Madrimov in the later rounds. And so I'm going to predict he knocks him out in the 10th round, as he done to Sean Porter. But it's going to be more of a wearing him down from round 4, 5 onwards. He's just going to wear him down. I haven't seen Madrimov take many backward steps because he's forced to take backward steps. Whenever he takes backward steps, it's always him in control of the fight. This is going to be the first fight when he has an adversary that is actually coming here to push you back and make sure that you can't have a successful offense. My offense, as in Terence Crawford's offense, is going to dominate as the rounds go on. This is the time when I'm going to see Crawford have a hard fight. I've never seen Crawford have a hard fight per se. The Postol fight was slightly, given a bit of difficulty. Postol. That's the only time I've seen him have some adversary that was able to not only not get knocked out, but also have a decent attack of their own. Other than that, I ain't seen nobody really, apart from Individuals Kavaliauskas, Mean Machine. He had a bit of success, but I do believe that he went to fight Spencer's that time as well, and he wasn't really tuned in, and he was a bit angry, and he fought that fight with a bit of anger in him, and that helped him to lose concentration, and that was a knockdown. Man, try to say he never got knocked down. You listen, but I rate you highly, yeah. But Kavaliauskas knocked you down, my guy. He knocked you down. Let's just have it right. Stop fronting, man. That's cap that he never knocked you down. He knocked you down, my guy. It's all good. Never mind. I believe that Crawford is going to win this fight. Crawford is going to win this fight. This is how I'm ending it. Crawford will win this fight. 10th round stoppage. I'm going there. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the distance because this is a strong hombre. But because I know he gasses down the stretch, Bud is going to catch him down the stretch. Bud gets stronger as the fight goes on. He's going to stop him. And he wants to prove a point. He wants everybody to know, you lot need to put respect on my name. Put respect on my name. I banged up your guy. I smashed him to pieces. And you don't want to respect it. You still don't want to respect it. So guess what? I'm going to smash this guy to pieces. And nobody knows him. So I'm going to beat him up. And you lot are still not going to give me no credit. So I'm going to have to fight Canelo afterwards. And beat up Canelo. I think this is how he's thinking. I really do. So, well done, Israil Madrimov, for doing what you needed to do to get yourself into this position. So the Sheikh can shake and bake your pockets. Okay, you're going to get a fat check. But guess what? My guy, you're going to lose. Bud ain't losing to you. I've said it before and I'm going to say it on record now. I believe Bud beats everybody from 147 to 160. Standard. Israil Madrimov has come into the fray and made me think, oh, maybe there might be some adversary here, but no, I'm not having it. He's going to beat Madrimov. And if he doesn't, I'm going to have to eat humble pie in the recap video. So, I'll see you guys in the next video.